Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think we're live on stream too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as well.
Yep.
It's kind of noise. All right.
Jason, you may have the YouTube video running.
Is it on?
I can hear myself.
Yeah, I might have it on a little bit. Let's see if it's on the right setting.
Maybe I have it on.
Yeah, I think mine's all muted. I think, but I can see at least. Audio. It's the mic.
Hello. Yeah.
Is it still echoing on your end?
No, I think we're good now.
Okay. That's what I was hoping.
Yeah, it is. There seems to be a delay, Jason. It is capturing our sound twice. Seems to be a 5-second delay, and then let me try and restart this.
Yeah, I wonder what it is. I don't know what it would be though. Honestly. You're good with that girl.
All right, let's test.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's see.
See if it's gone. I just restarted my computer.
I don't think I heard an echo that time.
Yep, I'm not hearing it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have some new overlays for today. We have this new screen.
Nice.
Topics.
Nice. Let's go. It looks good though, so it'd be looking very nice.
Okay. All right. I think we're good with the echo. We have fixed the echo, everyone, and we can get started here in just a minute. Okay.
Is Ollie joining too, or
No, I don't think so. I think it's just us today.
noise?
All right, there we go. We are live.
We made it.
We made it, guys. Okay. Exciting week.
Yeah.
This is the week where a lot of cool things are going to happen. Bunch of exciting companies are reporting earnings. We're going to be increasing our price pool, and we're going to start really ramping up stonks. So
That's
it's happening.
exciting week indeed. I'm super excited for it. So, like I said, I wish I wish good old BlackRock would have been this afternoon, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Okay. We have some new overlays as well. Here we go.
Let's go.
So yeah, let's talk about the election stocks. I think that's the most interesting thing that happened this week. Quite a few this weekend. Quite a few things happened this weekend.
Just a couple.
Just a couple.
Couple semi-historic, moments, but nothing much.
Yeah.
Man, it was definitely a crazy weekend. That was for sure. Especially on Saturday.
Yeah.
I guess Saturday evening was that was definitely unexpected, but I think a lot of people were thinking some sort of thing was eventually going to happen just because how crazy and rhetoric is obviously gotten with politics. So I think some people were, waiting for something. I don't think anybody, probably thought of like the attempts that happened on Saturday evening, but I'm sure some people thought of something happening. I didn't think that was going to happen though.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know what happened, someone tried to kill Trump, and almost succeeded by what seems like a few millimeters. So they took part of his ear off, and I think if the bullet was just like 5 millimeters the other way, it probably would have been a headshot.
Yeah, no, 100%. If his head wouldn't have been turned towards the screen, like 100, like it's so crazy to even think about, right? Like, even in this day and age, especially like usually at least all the security and those kind of things. And now they said like obviously like a cop like went up the ladder, went up, and then the guy pointed the gun at him, and the cop just ran away. That's kind of crazy in its own right? Like I don't know if Secret Service didn't see his gun on the other side when he says it's still at the end of the day for me at least. Like when I'm thinking about it, you got somebody on top of a building laying there, like unless his head was like below where Secret Service couldn't see from the vantage point. They at least seen him or somebody's seen him. Obviously, I know that because the crowd members called him out. Then you had a cop run up the ladder and then ran away from the guy when he pointed his gun at him. And then the Secret Service didn't, and obviously at that point, the guy turned his gun over the top of the roof and then pop shot super quick. Like didn't even have time to really aim fast enough to actually get like a really, really good aim in. He was that close, right? And then obviously popped like 3 shots off, and then, Secret Service, shot him back. It's just crazy to think about, like in this day and age, especially with all the security, like, especially like drones in general, you figure there'd be drones everywhere in the air on that side too. So for any presidential campaign or any, even the president in general, or even, obviously with ex-president with Trump, or somebody that's just running for office, especially in the later stages, fixing to be like the party's nominee of one of the major parties in America, you figure like, they would have like, all out nonstop, like everything in the air, like all kinds of stuff. But, I guess not. It is kind of crazy. So now you obviously have like, local law enforcement pointing fingers at, the Secret Service. You have Secret Service pointing, fingers at the law enforcement offices. That's, it's just crazy to even think that even happened.
Yeah, I mean, just seems incompetence, which I guess pretty much defines our government. So, I'm not surprised. Like,
I mean, you're not wrong there.
It's
You're
just
definitely not wrong
incompetence.
there. Yeah,
Because
I
if you
mean,
see an aerial shot, there was only like 3 or 4 buildings in that entire area.
yeah,
And
that's
so
what I
they
mean.
couldn't see a shooter on one of those buildings.
I
It
just
wasn't
thought
even a
they'd
big
have.
building. It was like a
That's what
house,
I'm
like a
saying.
standard
It
roof.
was like a small, like a 6 by 12 roof, like not that
Yeah.
much of an eave. Like I think it's just like you said. It's obviously somebody's effed up. But at the end of the day, you figure they'd have SWAT teams on. Like there's only like 3 buildings, like you said. Like why isn't there like a team, at least a couple snipers on each roof then?
Yeah.
Like I don't know, I don't get it. And also, like, why did the officer not just pull his gun out and shoot the guy instead of running away? That's I mean, I get it. It's an AR-16. I get that. So you're like little 9mm versus the AR-16. I get that. But at the end of the day, like that's your job. You took an oath to protect, and then you just ran away from it. I mean, it obviously has happened, in the past few years of officers running away from AR-16s. So again, I get it. It's like a weapon. It's a lot bigger weapon than you got. But at the end of the day, I mean, like you're supposed to protect and serve. Like take the 9mm out, then at least like don't run, don't jump off the roof and run away.
Yeah. Or at least shoot in the air. So like,
Yeah, that's another thing. You could at least like you're jumping off, shot in the air. That would have gave like everybody would have heard the shot. Everybody would have jumped down already. So then the guy's vantage point would have been gone anyway. Because they said from the vantage point he could only see Trump from like the shoulders up. So it's like if that cop would at least even fired a shot into the ground or I don't know something. At least everybody probably would have heard it and then would have at least looked or dunked. Because it is kind of crazy though.
Totally. Yeah. By the way, are we doing top 10 payouts today or top 3? I think we should do top 10.
I think it has been I think it was top 10 on Friday too.
Okay.
From what I noticed, at least, I'm pretty sure it is top 10 though.
All right. If Eddie or Oliver, you guys are watching, let's make sure we're at top 10. Okay, it is top 10.
Yeah, all right. That's what I was thinking.
Top 10 predictions are going to get paid out, and we only have 10 right now. So hey, everyone's gonna get paid today. So far.
Everybody's a winner. Come on down.
Yeah, just an update. We are working on the withdrawal process. And so we hope to have the first withdrawal ready in a few days. So it's happening.
That's awesome.
We're trying to figure out the best way to do it. Actually, this would be helpful if you're watching the stream right now. If in chat you can just tell us what you would prefer. So we have 2 options. We're considering. One is PayPal. We just send you money via PayPal. The second one is gift cards. Like a Visa or an Amazon gift card. It gets a little complex based on what country you're from. So PayPal can support most countries pretty well, but there is a bit of a problem if if you're from a country that PayPal is not supported. And then these gift cards also tend to be country specific. They have these fraud rules on them. So I think it would be helpful if you can just tell us what you would prefer, and it'll help us in our decision. But regardless, we're going to have it live in a few days.
Awesome. That's good. It's good news.
Another thing we're
working on.
People
asking about it. So
yeah, another thing we're working on are notifications, and so a lot of people have been asking, "Hey, I don't know when the game's going to go live again," and so notifications are coming soon, and we'll keep you posted on those as well.
Awesome.
Cool. Any other announcements? Yeah, and if you're watching and you haven't made a prediction, go in and make a prediction, and you can earn more entries by just completing some tasks. So you can earn like 5 or 10 extra entries by just doing some tasks.
Awesome. Yeah. Mr. E-Card says gift card.
Yeah.
Gift cards are pretty easy, especially since you can send them out through email from to most countries at least.
Yeah. Okay, we'll figure it out. So at this point, I think Trump is going to be president. Short of him either actually getting assassinated or having a heart attack or something catastrophic, I think at this point it's a pretty sure thing that Trump is going to be president, because the last time this happened was Reagan, and Reagan's approval ratings went up 22% after his attempted assassination. So, and Biden wasn't looking too hot either before this whole thing happened, and so I think it's probably like worth talking about what stocks to pick if Trump gets elected, which is I think a 90% plus probability.
Yeah, I mean, unless something crazy happens, right? So, like you said, like obviously that was like 40 years ago when Reagan got shot at. So, like, I mean, anything could happen because like I feel like at this point, like we've had so much stuff happen, and then like the exact opposite, goes down. So you're like, all right, this isn't, I guess within president of like, last, say the last market crash or whatever it may be. So like anything could definitely happen still 100%. Like we could obviously even still see the Democrats, even replace Joe Biden at this point too. So that's still not out of the question because they haven't had the, the Democratic convention yet either. So like, anything could 100% happen. I do think this will definitely help his overall base be super, they were already energized, but the overall base is going to be more energized now. I do think this will, I also think like some people that were on the fence will probably, lean his way more now as well. But like I said, like, when you're looking at history, like I feel like if anything's taught us the last like 4 or 5 years, like you almost want to throw out the historic data at this point because everything's been so crazy. But yeah, I agree with that. Like 100%. Like I do think like the everything's leaning his way right now. But I guess, like I said, I guess anything could happen, right? Like we could see, obviously I think it just came across the news line that, he picked JD Vance as his vice presidential nominee, which I think was like high on the list already. I think, I had him at like number 2 or number 3. So in terms of like who he's going to pick, just because I feel like both of them are, I wouldn't say the same person, but they're both, see eye to eye on a lot of things. So I was definitely, high on him. Obviously, a lot of people had Nikki Haley high until the all the debates and stuff like that. And then she kind of got, pushed down from that. So it is, like I said, so again, I don't know when that was announced. I just got across the news line just like 3 minutes ago. But yeah, he has picked JD Vance for his vice presidential nominee as well.
I think it's a mistake. Honestly, I think he should have picked a woman.
I think so too.
Simply because the only reason he might lose is because of abortion. And that's why he lost the last one, was because of abortion. And like, it's, women do not like being told they cannot abort. Like, simple, like that is.
I agree. Obviously, like I said, especially when it comes to like you see because the issue is like obviously abortion is a very hot topic, 100%. Like I don't see, like I'm definitely not trying to make a decision for for a woman or a doctor at the end of the day, and I also don't want to put people in the prediction of where you see like ectopic pregnancies and stuff like that had to go across the border because the doctor's scared to give the abortion in the or wherever it may be because of ectopic pregnancies and things like that as well. I actually knew somebody that was a family member's friend that had that same. They lived in Texas, and had they had an ectopic pregnancy, and they literally had to travel across state lines just to get an abortion, or she was going to bleed out. That's kind of crazy to think about, right? So it does get pause, and before that, I never really thought about it that way. But when it actually happened to somebody I know, it was like kind of crazy. So I feel like there's just like this weird red line where, we're sometimes, especially on the Republican side, they kind of like, I guess so in terms shoot themselves in the foot when it comes to like some of these like, I don't want to call it like, I guess, Christo-fascism type of things, I guess you want to call it. That some people go on about. So there's a lot of like red lines where I do feel like obviously Republicans are like, but they do good on some other areas, right? So which is great. But, at the end of the day, it's like Republicans usually have the whole we don't spend as much on their favor, too. But if you look back at obviously even like, Trump's, last term, he spent a ton of money. That's you usually don't see with like a Republican president. So again, I think there's just a lot of like weird stuff that's going to happen. I do agree with you though. I do think that he should have picked a female. That would have helped shore up the female support. And they could have talked about certain stuff, especially when it comes to abortion or any other women's rights. And now again, like we've talked about before, now you have like some of Trump's older cabinet members like that with the Heritage Foundation. Obviously, you have that going right now as well with the Project 2025. Who knows if that's real or not? But that's also going to be the a big feeding point for even on the Democrat side to say like just continue hammering, obviously abortion and continue hammering Project 2025 for, and
Mhm.
that's going to get a lot of women, being like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So again, it is kind of like crazy on both sides. Like, again, like you just talk about, like Biden
Mhm.
wasn't doing well. He's in his
Oh,
80 years old, pretty much. You got Trump, which is right behind him, not much younger.
yeah.
I would hope that obviously both parties. I was hoping both parties would have picked two younger people, maybe in like their 40s, maybe 50s.
Mhm.
But they didn't. We went with the two old guys again, so we're kind of stuck here. And obviously Biden's even uh, I feel like in terms of like aging, he's obviously had an aneurysm before back in his younger days. Like how much does that affect his his brain too? When you get older, I'm sure it affects some sorts in there because obviously he almost died from the brain aneurysm. So there's just like so many like back and forth things. Like again, I was hoping that we'd see two younger people, but it didn't happen. So now we're here again with the two old guys.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my election stock. I've got a
All
couple
right.
of theories on, and this is not just me rambling on. These are actually trades that I'm considering and will likely pull
Yeah.
off doing. So, uh, Trump has stated that if he gets elected, they're going to bring back bonus depreciation.
Yep.
So that was one of the big tax code changes. Now, if you don't know what bonus depreciation is as a business, if you buy, let's say, a car, a factory, a tractor, an airplane,
Mm-hmm.
you could take 100% value, whatever you paid for that thing, and it really didn't matter what that thing was as long as it was like a real physical thing.
Yep.
You could depreciate 100% of that in year one. And so what that meant was, if I have a huge tax bill coming this year, suddenly I'm going to go buy, even like things I don't really need, but nice to
Mm-hmm.
have, just because I don't want to pay the tax and I want to bring my tax bill back to zero.
Yep.
And I would just do that every year that I can do that. Because then you can resell that thing you bought, because obviously you depreciated to zero, but the value didn't go to zero in the future. And I think the tax on that was only like 20% or lower. Um, so there are specific industries that are very sensitive to this type of optional behaviors. And an industry I'm very close with, because I recently, I guess, I became a pilot. I learned to fly,
Yeah.
are airplanes,
That's
right?
awesome too.
To give you a great example, there's a YouTuber on in finance, Meet Kevin.
Yep.
So Meet Kevin actually went and bought an Embraer Phenom 300 plane, which I think was roughly 8 or 9 million, something, 10
Mm-hmm.
something $1 million, for this very reason, because he had a tax bill coming due because he was trading stocks and he made a bunch of gains and he didn't want to pay tax on them. And so he said, I'm going to go spend 10 million buying a plane. I'm going to write off this $10 million gain I have and pay zero tax, essentially, because the tax on that would have been, let's say, 3 million, right? So
Yep.
he literally saved 3 million cash by buying a plane for 10. And then the plane is his. He can resell it 3 years
Yeah.
from now for more or less what he paid for, maybe a little bit of depreciation. But he just saved $3 million. And so there are these industries that are very, very sensitive to bonus depreciation. And, planes are one of them, where you see these huge cycles of, there's a 5-year wait list to buy a new one because everyone wants to buy one because there's bonus depreciation. And
Mm-hmm.
now we're kind of in the lull where, planes like 3 years ago that you had to wait years for, you can get in 6 months.
Yep.
Um, so that's a very strong hypothesis I have here, is if bonus depreciation comes back, there there are plane manufacturers that will just have a freaking party.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right, and these
I
are like
think.
$1 million minimum purchases, right? So you're going from 1 million to, let's say, $50 million, or 70 million for like the new, Gulfstreams 750s. And it applies because, look, there aren't like, if you have a really big tax bill,
Yep.
there are very few things you can buy, like physical things, short of like land, that you can justify as a business expense. and planes are just one of them, right? Like you could spend
Yeah.
$50 million and justify a plane purchase versus what else are you going to buy? Like how many
Yeah.
G-Wagons are you going to buy for, $50 million or
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Like,
um,
and obviously, like you were just talking about with Meet Kevin, right? He obviously launched like House Hacks and a couple
mhm,
other businesses as well. So like obviously, like a lot of that income that came in and stuff like that, like he was, and like you said, he didn't make a lot of gains off certain stocks.
mhm,
He sold a lot too, for certain reasons. So it makes sense for something like that has like a massive tax bill. It's like I don't want to pay it to the government, but I could go get this, which
mhm.
obviously he loves, loves planes and things like that in general. So it's like, hey, look, like I might as well just go get this, and
Mhm.
yeah, I can have this, and I can at least sell it eventually when I
Yeah,
want to, instead of paying however much millions of dollars to the government.
yeah. And the reason I know this is because I went and bought a plane myself, and I have another one in order that's coming next year. And when you talk to these brokers, they tell you that most of the action for buying and selling planes happens in Q4 every year. And like, why does it happen in Q4? Because your tax bill is due at the end of
Yeah,
December. Um, and so it's very sensitive and very tight. And another way to play this trade is okay, and this is like a little more speculative, so I wouldn't
yeah.
necessarily recommend this, but it's a fun thought.
Speculation's best.
Is because more people are going to buy planes, the wait times are going to go up, and therefore the premium you're willing to pay
Mm,
to get something shiny today is much higher.
yep.
Um, and so, to give you an example, the plane I have on order, it's called a Cirrus SR-22 Turbo,
Yeah.
and basically when we saw this thing happen with cars in during
Mm-hmm.
COVID, right, where you had to pay above list for a new car,
Yep.
like 10, 20, 30 grand above list for like a new car. The same thing happens in planes, but just the numbers are bigger.
Yeah.
So it's pretty normal to have a 5 or 10% premium on if you want to skip the 2 3 year wait list and you want it now, especially if you're thinking from a tax perspective. You're like, fuck it, I'll pay 10% more because I don't want to pay a 30% tax to the government, right?
Eh.
um, and I want the shiny new thing. I don't want like an old plane.
No,
So
no, I agree with you on that.
um, so
Trying
so
to.
the trade is the following: is you actually put down a deposit for a bunch of planes. Now the deposits are usually 10%.
Yep.
Um, and then when you get the plane, you literally sell it before you take delivery, and you get that 10% premium on it. So you get your 10% back plus another 10%.
Percent.
So if it's $1 million plane, that's a 100K premium that you're collecting for
Yeah.
essentially waiting, like having your money tied up.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, it makes sense though. Like you said, we've seen it happen, with cars, obviously, where people were,
mhm,
buying cars and then selling them before they even took delivery.
yeah.
Especially on electric cars, you've seen a lot of that happening as well. And even on just regular ICE cars too, though, you've seen
Mhm,
people buying them and then then they would resell
yeah.
them for, like you said,
Remember
like
the new
10%.
Ford Broncos?
Oh yeah, those were going like hotcakes. Oh
Yeah,
my
and
god,
the new
people were.
Corvettes, those were crazy
Yeah, the
too.
Corvettes were going off the charts as well. So it is, like I said, there's just like certain stocks are like, hey, that's actually a good one. I didn't really think about. One I thought about too, obviously, and we've seen kind of drop. I don't know if you know this, go to the company. I'm sure you might know the company. Obviously, we've seen it drop when Democrats won. And the reason why it dropped, obviously, because it has to do with the prisons and stuff like that. So it's Geo Group. And they're
Oh,
the ones, yeah, and Geo Group are the ones. And we took a big plunge, obviously,
mhm,
back when the Democrats won, because obviously, yada, yada, yada on that end. Where,
mhm,
so we've seen people dump Geo Group, but I do think Geo Group will probably, it's been getting bought back up since, things have been leaning more on the right anyway. So we've been
mhm,
seeing it get bought back up. I do think we'll see it even continue if we 100% know that, say like one side or other is going to win or lose. I do think that one would be like a really good one to watch. Like if you don't really care like which one to buy, then you could probably just go buy like Lockheed if you wanted to, because like at the end of the day, like either way, like with Lockheed, like either the right or the left's going to be spending money in defense, and
yeah,
Lockheed's going to be a big proponent
mhm,
of that. So it's like, hey, let's just go buy Lockheed. Doesn't matter who wins. I think those are good ones. Obviously, even like what is another one? Like obviously, like you can go buy some gun stocks too, like RGR, which is like Sturm Ruger. That
mhm.
could be one you could go buy as well. That would probably shoot up if the right one. Those are like ones I would probably watch out for, just because, like I said, like obviously Geo Group is a known one, but not like a massive known one. I mean, the stock price isn't crazy. It's like $17 right now. But again, like I said, it did see like I think like a 35 or 40% drop last time when in the 2020 presidential election. So we could see another rebound on that. But yeah, they do a lot of stuff for prisons and private prisons. So yeah, those are like ones that I would be like, okay, like that's outside like the norm that you would think of at least.
Totally. Yeah. What else, like in terms of, I think because of bonus depreciation, like trucks, I think that's probably the number one thing like a small business would buy. So your Ford F-150 is like, the classic, like, I have a tax bill due. I have like a 60K tax bill due and I don't want to pay this tax. So I'm just going to go buy a new truck.
That could definitely be one. Like in general, like I think the whole industry as a whole on that. So like you said, with planes or trucks or
the problem is like Ford sucks, and like it would be hard to like justify a long-term hold of like Ford.
Yeah, I mean it would, but I mean again, to me those would be swing trades anyway.
Yeah,
it's not something I want to hold on forever, just because I do think that those as like the dinosaurs that are going to get passed up eventually because they took so long to like try to even go to something new. And then obviously even on top of that, like we'll probably see some of the the government I guess rebates kind of gets slashed or done away with, so people like not saying so much like a Tesla, but especially like Ford or Chevy and things like that, that's going to probably up prices in the cars because they're not getting that money back from the government. So at the end of the day, it's like that whole side of the energy field was definitely going to get hurt a little bit. Even something like probably even more like even like an Enphase, right? Like with the solar panels, right? So Enphase will probably get hurt, right? If one side wins and the other, especially again, because I do think if the R's win, we're going to see a lot of those things probably get slashed. So I do think renewable energies, those things will definitely probably see some sort of a cutback. But it's not the end of the world, like I said, because I do think some of these things are, kind of far off anyway. So like what's going to happen in the next 4 years? Like, would you have really like, done something crazy in 4 years? Maybe, but like probably not in the short term. Because like solar panels are great right now. They're better than they used to be, but they aren't massive. Like I have solar panels on my house. Love solar panels. But they're not where like eventually you'd want them to be, right? You're like a 20% rate at this point.
Sure.
Like eventually you'd like to see at least like say 40 or 50%. That'd be, but we're so far away from stuff like that. It's going to be a while. So those are things. It's like, okay, that, those could take a hit. So if you're in those, you think 100% going to know, maybe those are some of the things maybe you drop and you pick up like a, an R, type stock like Geo, another one that might see a good bump too. If the R's win, this could be short term. So it'd be a swing trade 100%, no, don't take my stuff. I'm not a financial advisor, by the way, guys. But another one we could see, obviously we love Google and I love YouTube, but we could see Rumble see a swing trade moment to where it's like, okay, like the rights win now. So now you see something like Rumble, which is, some people use on that side, especially. I think those are one of the stocks that you could see, go up. That's kind of outside the box that more than what we usually think about. I mean, there's just so many like, random things out there, obviously, like even like Axion Enterprise, that could be another one. So I think there's a lot of stocks, honestly, we could probably talk about in terms of like, you don't think about it, but indirectly from one side winning, they're going to have a bump out of it, right? I'm not saying it's going to be a lasting bump, but they're definitely going to have a bump within those, coming weeks leading up and the coming weeks after, if that side wins. Now, obviously, like everybody's going to dump it the night of if that side doesn't win. And there's a lot of stocks like we were just talking about on the Democratic side too. Like I said, if like renewable energy stocks, those kind of things, we'll probably see a bump. Those kind of things I definitely think. But there's a lot of stocks on either side that people are going to be watching or maybe even swing trading going into the election.
Aye.
1 minute left. 1 minute left to get your bids in. 1 minute.
Right. Get your bids in. Although for me it says it has closed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just put a bid in for fun. Closed. Well, I think it has closed. I put my bid in and it closed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, your bid's in.
Yep. So I got to talking and never
All
did
right,
it.
let's go to our next topic. Yeah, just before we talk about semis, I think for today we're doing Tesla, but starting tomorrow onwards, because it's earnings seasons is starting,
Yep.
we're going to focus on a company that's actually reporting earnings. And so this is going to get a lot more interesting because you're going to get a much more massive swing up or down. Right
Yep.
now, you're kind of incented just to like pick the price closest to the price exactly when
Yep.
the bidding closes. Statistically, that's the right move. But when a company reports earnings, that's not the right move. And so,
Nope.
yeah, from tomorrow, things are going to get a little more exciting.
Yep. A lot more
We'll be here at the same
interesting.
time tomorrow.
Yep. Same time, obviously Monday through Friday. So we'll be here. Be a live stream every day. We'll be giving money away. You guys will be able to enter like Murdy just said, though, it's going to be a lot more interesting in terms of, because like he's talking about, we could have, 5, 10, 15, 20, percent swings on an earnings call. So you never know what's going to happen. It could be up or down. So there's going to be a lot more of you guys hopefully looking at the stock and looking at what the news is, supposed to be, like where analysts say, is going to happen, and trying to put your own, hypothesis together of like what's going to happen. And then, yeah, it's going to be a lot more interesting starting tomorrow.
Yeah, we've got a couple of options tomorrow. We've got interactive brokers we could cover. We've got
Interactive
some
brokers.
banks. Omnicon, not sure what they do, but
was interactive brokers after?
yeah,
Close?
it's in the
Oh,
PM.
we should definitely do interactive brokers, and that'd be a
I
good
have
one.
so much to say about them.
Me too. So we should be good on that one. That's
right.
Tomorrow's topic. So
Okay.
at this point, we picked it in.
Cool. Let's quickly talk about semis since since this week we have two big semi companies reporting. So ASML, which produces the machines that produce the semi chips. It's a Dutch company that literally has a monopoly in the machines.
Yeah, they do too.
Each machine is like $300 million. Yeah, and so they're reporting earnings on Wednesday morning, and then the big one, TSMC, Taiwan
yeah.
Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporations, is reporting on Thursday evening, and we will definitely run that.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it's the same like time as Netflix, so we're gonna have to choose between covering TSMC or Netflix.
That's so
I think we
sad.
should cover TSMC. It's a lot more volatile.
Yeah, it is definitely way more volatile though.
Yeah.
So if we want to if we want to just cause all havoc, we should just pick that.
Here, let me share my screen.
Yeah.
So, all right, here we go. So yeah, semis. So something interesting is happening here. You look at sort of year to date or 1 year for TSMC. It's a very similar chart to what NVIDIA is, what ASML is. Here's ASML. Here's their 1 year chart. So they're up 41%. Even though revenues aren't really up that much because they're on like 5 to 10 year sales cycles in terms of how long it takes to make these machines and ship them and get them.
It's crazy how much it goes into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have way more TSMC than any of them. But it was also like one of the very first, semiconductor, stocks that I bought. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
Wish I had more NVIDIA. Wish I could trade them around. But hey.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Both ASML and TSMC have gone down today 1%. You would think in anticipation for earnings, it would actually rally because it's usually buy the news.
Yep. No, I 100% agree with that. I just wonder if people are like worried, like. So you see a lot of people like, okay, we're already up this much. Like, let's get out of some of these, options and things early. That way they're already up. I don't know if people are just taking precautionary reasons of why they're selling or what's going on there. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating.
It does make you wonder, though. It's like, what does the insiders know?
Yeah. So, anyways, this is interesting, and so this is going to be sort of a watershed week for semis, right? Because it's if both of these guys report blockbuster earnings, Nvidia is going to rally because if their revenue is going up means Nvidia's revenue is going up, and so they're literally correlated 1-to-1, at least with TSMC or TSM. It's so keep an eye out on that.
No, yeah, 100% agree though. I'm definitely I'm thinking they're going to be up, but I mean, I guess anything's like nothing's out of the ordinary if it wasn't up, but I'm guessing it's going to be up.
Mm-hmm.
But it does make you wonder, like what does somebody know that are selling right now, leading into it? Unless again, like I said, it's just precautionary reasons. People are trying to get out of some of their options and things like that early.
Sure. So here's interesting. Delta reported earnings last week, and they've been down since. And what's interesting is one of the big contributing factors to their loss was the Olympics. So they said that people aren't flying to Paris unless they're going to the Olympics, and so overall traffic to Paris is actually down.
Yeah.
And so they reported like $150 million loss just linked to people not going to Paris for the summer.
It's wild. That's just wild to think about too. But at the end of the day, like, I don't want to go to Paris. I mean, I like to go to Paris when it's when it's not the Olympics. I can only imagine how like busy Paris is going to be during the Olympics. So I don't see why anybody want to go around that time period. At least what I'm looking at too. So it makes sense to me. Like I'd be one of those people if I had a trip to Paris at that point. I'd be like, no, I'm not going right now. Like, nah, I'm good.
And so United, which is the other big stock, is reporting earnings on Wednesday, and we might actually cover United as our featured stock on Wednesday.
Okay.
And so United Airlines is so this is going to be the big one to watch. So you can sort of see this fall, like when Delta reported, United fell too.
Yeah.
Roughly 4%. Roughly
they both just said about this. Yeah, just fell off a cliff there.
Mm-hmm. And so this is going to be an interesting one to see on what's going on.
Definitely interested. You would think though, since Delta was down, you figure like some sort of American Airlines would be down a little bit too, but maybe not. I mean, United Airlines would be down a little bit too, but maybe not.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, if I had stock on either one of those, I probably would have dumped too. Get me out. I mean, they'll make a comeback anyway. It's not like it's a forever thing anyway. So if you do like have stock in that at an upper price, I mean, it'll eventually make its way back up anyway. I mean, the Olympics isn't forever.
There was a study done on airlines that basically concluded that over the last close to 80 years or 70 years of sort of airlines being a thing, they have consistently lost money, or like they have generated 0 shareholder returns.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any airline stocks, so I can't say anything.
And I mean, look at this. This is the all-time chart for United. It's up only 27% since 2006. So February of 2006.
That would stink if it's all the stock you had was was one of these airlines. Oh gosh, obviously even during COVID, it really just smacked the heck out of them.
Yeah,
but
it's like a 2% a year return.
Yeah, I wonder if like ocean freight liners and things like that. Like, I wonder if they actually make a profit. I guess like more of like Carnival cruise ships and things like that. I wonder how much profit they make, or if they run on a loss as well.
Let's see. Yeah, because they're essentially in the same business of renting an expensive piece of machinery and then
exactly. That's the way I look at it. I did a swing trade on Carnival back in 2021. Yeah. But I never held like a airline or like a Carnival type in my stock portfolio, like, and actually held it at least. So you see a lot of that. They've done better, but I mean, I guess it's a lot of swing trades in there. If you want to swing trade one though, that's a lot going on.
Like
there.
Every 10 years you can swing trade Carnival.
Look, here comes a slump sale. We know it's another 10-year ride up and sell again.
Yeah, but this is from 87, right? So 87 to now, you're looking at almost 40 years.
Yeah.
And 300% over 40 years is really not that good either.
No, it's not great. Like the topic of discussion, that's what I'm saying. Like if you love the airline sector because the fantastic monthly, quarterly, long options opportunities. Exactly. That's what I'm saying too. Like if I was going to buy, like, and I've done it with Carnival before, but if I was going to buy an airline, it'd be more of like a swing trades and things like that with options. The same thing with what people do with like medical stocks, right? Everybody like they know they're fixing to come up with something, and it's they're either going to get approved or not. It's not going to get approved, or their study's going to go well, or it's not going to go well. And everybody buys options based off that. Like that's what everybody does in that sector as well. So to me, I see that as the same thing with airlines. I see that with the same thing with like the boats, with again with bio and things like that as well. I see those as longer, like monthly or quarterly long, like options trading opportunities.
Yeah, and just FYI, this is not financial advice. We are not advisors. This is just what we are doing and what we think. Go do your own research. But here's American Airlines. So look at this. They're actually negative 50% over since 2005. So almost 20 years. And
that's sad.
Negative 50%.
Imagine if you'd have bought in like 2006 there at like the all-time high. That'd be wild. I hope you got out like at some point between like 2015 and 2020, but I don't know. You would have still been under, but I mean, if you would have bought on the way down, at least I'm sure you would have got your stock price way down and then you sold out. But man, that would have been a bad investment.
And here's Delta from 07 to now.
It's still the best, I feel like.
Yeah, 100%.
It's definitely done the best, but it's still like not great from all the way back in like 2000s, wherever it was back there, way back when. Either way, like 2008, 2007. So like, still like you would have did way better just putting your money in the overall market at that point.
I mean, look at this. If there is a joke, this must be it. This is the Trump media.
Oh yeah, I mean that's all because obviously what happened on Saturday. It'll eventually come back down again like usual. Because at the end of the day, like nothing against him, but they have they haven't made any profit. It's more to me, it's more of like a swing trade opportunities. Sure. It's like, hey, look, if there's a catalyst coming up, like obviously today he picked his vice presidential with JD Vance. Saturday, I'm sure pre-hours we've seen a big bump in pre-hours just because of obviously what happened on Saturday. So again, that's kind of me. I kind of look at it like, like we were talking about earlier, like it's going to make his fans like riled up to do, in terms of like being excited about what's going to happen. So they're going to go out and buy a stock. Right. And then you'll see people dump it, especially bigger, traders who know what they're doing. They're going to, they're going to ride the pump and then dump. And I don't blame them. I would too. And it's kind of happened, a lot since then. So.
Yeah, man, this is hilarious. Almost
it is crazy. Meme stocks, man, are wild though. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the what the technicals are. It doesn't matter nothing. It doesn't matter if they haven't never made a profit. Like people will ride that thing, and then obviously gets everybody else like riding it, and then you have this like long-term trades happening where you're like, how's this thing still above like $50 or $40 or even $30?
Yeah. I mean,
GameStop's been holding on pretty decent, so it's got a nice little upswing.
I'm really surprised.
I'm super surprised too. I'm not gonna. I thought we was gonna see another dump back into at least into the teens.
Yeah,
but we haven't yet. I was like, all right, still rolling.
Still rolling. And then let's do our last one. Let's do a bonus pick, Jason. What's if you had to buy something today with your money?
Oh,
what are you buying?
Oh man, because I mean, if I was gonna swing trade 100%, DJT 100%, that would have been like my play. And I thought about it this morning, but I was like, I won't hurt myself because my luck, I'd do it and then it'd fall. So I didn't do it against my better judgment. Even though I knew everything about the stock was going to be, good and golden. But yeah, it didn't happen. If I was going to buy something today, man, it probably, I mean, again, I hate to say it. With TSM down, I'd probably buy more semiconductor with TSMC. So, that honestly probably what I would buy just because I don't see them having a loss at all. So I think the momentum upward is going to be, good on it when it comes up to these other earnings come up this week. So to me, like I'll probably be buying that one, honestly.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna buy some call options on TSM. and just see what happens.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So I've been thinking it. So 'cause at the end of the day, it's like, I'd like to. I've had it since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was my very first like semiconductor stuff that I bought. And I've just been buying it steadily since. So yeah, I mean, honestly, like I've done, options calls on it before and sold
Mm-hmm.
call options. I've sold a ton of just a ton of options overall. Just sell, like even putting the mine up towards people buying the options, right? And
Mm-hmm.
everything else that goes in between. Like I've done a lot with them. So yeah, I'm 100% with you there. I just don't see that industry losing money right this second. So
Yeah,
I just don't know why I wouldn't buy more.
sure. So for me, here's my bonus pick.
All right.
So the company I mentioned, so these guys, they make planes. It's
Oh
called
yeah, the
Cirrus.
plane. Yeah, yeah.
So what's interesting is they they are going public again on the Hong Kong
Oh,
Stock Exchange. So it's an
oh,
American company that sort of got bailed out by a Chinese company during, I think, the 2008 crisis or sometime. And then
yeah,
so China has essentially owned this company. Um, and now they're going public again on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. But they've kind of pitched it as a global offering. So if you just go to their website here, cirrusaircraft.com, they have their listing documents. And but let me give you a little bit of detail about who they are. So they're most well known for making what's called the SR-22 model, which is this plane right here. It's a
yeah.
single engine piston.
Yep. Those are
Um,
everywhere, by the way, too.
yeah,
A
and
lot of people have those.
yeah,
They're
it's
pretty
really popular
planes.
because it has a parachute. You can pull
Yep.
a parachute and the whole plane comes down. And they basically outsell all the other single engine piston manufacturers combined. So they're sort of the Apple of airplanes.
Yeah.
It's a relatively small market. I think they sell 500 units a year of the SR-22, which is
Yeah. I
number
mean,
one selling by far. So
they're still a
it's not.
pretty penny, too, though.
Yeah, so it's about 500-600 million in revenue of that line.
Yeah.
And then what they are focused on is this called the Vision Jet, which is a tiny sort of single pilot operated jet. It's a very small jet, almost looks like a Disney cartoon character. If you look at the
That
pictures on it.
looks great, honestly,
Yeah,
though. Like, it looks good, too.
yeah. And so these are a little bit more. I think these are like 3 to 4 million, and
Yeah.
they sell less of them. But basically, these guys are really the only ones in aviation in sort of this sort of lower end segment of aviation, of the general
Yeah.
aviation market, that are really innovating. Everyone else has given up. Like Cessna has stopped. Like their innovation is a
Mhm.
new cup holder.
Yep.
Everyone else has given up.
100%, yeah. I
And
mean,
so these guys
Cessna
are going
used to
public
be.
again, and we've got bonus depreciation that might come in again. And when it does, this thing is going to roar. Like
Yeah,
this
I
is.
mean, probably so. When's it when's it hitting the market? I'm over here like, yo, I mean, I might need me some of that.
I will. I don't know when they're going live,
Yeah.
but it's soon, and I can
That'd
I
be
can
that's
look it
super.
up.
How many people can you fit in the jet? How many people fit in there?
So technically, you can fit 4 adults and 3 children,
Children? Okay.
uh, but then you have to sacrifice on fuel. So this is sort of what the
Yeah.
inside looks like.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
this
what I
is,
was wanting to see. I wanted to see the
and
insides.
then you've got 2 pilots ahead of this, right? So you've got two
Oh,
pilots,
okay.
and
So
then
5 people comfortably though.
yeah, yeah,
That's nice. Yeah.
yeah. It's a really nice cabin. It kind of looks like a big SUV,
Nice.
That's
Well, if you get one, you got to come pick me up.
this. I
It
actually
looks
have a
so nice.
deposit down for this as well, but I probably won't take delivery of it. I'll probably just
Yeah,
resell
I'd
this.
sell it. Yeah, because I'd probably resell it. It'd probably make a pretty penny. That is crazy with the parachute. Like that is sick.
Yeah, the whole plane comes down with the parachute.
Yeah, that is so sick. That way it doesn't like, you're like, okay, we had some, something happened, right? Like now
Mhm.
my whole airplane's not going to be, imploded.
Yeah.
Like obviously you got to get it, back and get it fixed, but at least
Mhm.
it's not in a million pieces and on fire.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. So these guys,
Yeah, this thing should sell like a hotcake, honestly, for anybody that's wants total safety, like a
Yeah.
whole total safety measure, and just wants like a nice jet. Like again, like I said, like a lot of people fly around. They don't have a bajillion people in their private jets anyway. Usually, you see like maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So like if you can fit 5 people in there comfortably, like dude, that's nice.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it's these guys, and there's a few other manufacturers as well. I don't know if Embraer planes are they public? Embraer. This is another company that would benefit. So this is the plane that Meet Kevin has.
Oh yeah.
Embraer. They make bigger planes too, but he's got the Phenom 300.
Yeah, I've seen his before.
So I wonder if they're public or not about us. There's another company in the US called Piper. They've been around for a long time, but they also needed a rescue. Because again, these planes are very like cyclical, right? Like when times are good, they really go crazy, and when times are
Yep.
bad, they all go bankrupt, and they all need like Chinese money. Or
Yep.
in the case of Piper, the government of Brunei actually bought them out and still owns them.
That's crazy though. I didn't even know that, because obviously, like I know Piper. I've known a Piper at least, and then I know Cessna, which obviously that's like I feel like if you know planes in general or know of planes, you probably know the name brand Cessna just because it has like a good name brand with it. So yeah, you said though, like obviously when times are really, really good, these companies are doing great, and then when times are bad, then who's spending their money on jets, right? So it's like down goes the ship. Like you definitely have to be like hoarding cash to even try to make it through that, and even then, it's gonna be hard for you to make it through it.
Yeah, who owns Cessna these days?
I have no idea who owns Cessna.
Because they've been bought and sold a whole bunch of times. Subsidiary, founders, defunct. Yeah, went bankrupt in 2014. Became
I think it's Textron Aviation.
Yeah, Textron
Yeah,
Aviation.
it's owned them since 2014. It says.
Okay. Beechcraft, Hawker. Okay.
Yeah, they're in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay. Is it a public company? Yeah, traded as New York Stock Exchange. Text. Okay. Textron is public.
Huh.
But they own a bunch of other things too, right? So it wouldn't be
Yeah, I think
like
so. It wouldn't be just like that's the only thing they own. If you're buying Textron, you're probably getting a lot of different things outside of just a Cessna.
Yeah, so it's not a pure play. Textron here. Market cap 17 billion. Aerospace industrials 35,000. I mean, what's with their P? Trailing P, forward P 14. It's not bad, man.
That's not terrible. No, not actually. It's not bad at all. It's better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, revenue is kind of flattish, right? Like 11 billion, 12, 13. This would be a fun company to cover. Let's see. When does TXT report earnings? On the 18th.
Oh, really?
Expected to.
Okay. Expected. Got it.
Okay, we will keep an eye on TXT Cessnas.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're the number 2 seller, right? It's like
no, 100%. Yeah, I mean, like I said, because obviously they have such a name brand that I feel like so many people know them, so they go, probably I would, again, if I was in America and I didn't really know about the other brand, like 100%, that's who I'd go with.
Yeah,
like the guys who's been around forever, like especially if like you buy like one of those beach crafts or something like that. You live on those kind of areas, like that's 100% I'd be going after.
Yeah, they also make jets these days. So Cessna, people associate with them like with these really old school, like propeller, like piston engines. But have a look. Here, let me show you. They actually
have
make
like I know they had like a mid-size jet.
Yeah,
I didn't know how small they went though.
No, they have some pretty small ones. This
Small ones.
M2
Okay.
is a pretty small jet.
Yeah. Okay.
And this would be the perfect, like, I'm a business owner. I have $10 million to blow because I
Yeah.
don't
No,
want to pay my
100%.
tax
Yeah.
bill.
That would be. Yeah, because it's what it says seat 7. So yeah, that'd be a perfect one for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, this M2 would be what you would
And it's
get.
a nice looking jet. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful jet. Yeah,
nice.
yeah. So yeah, this might be a trade. You figure out a bucket of Cessna, a few other aircraft manufacturers, Cirrus, and when bonus depreciation hits, these guys
Yeah.
will be sold out for 5 years.
Oh yeah, that definitely. I mean, everybody that, especially like you said, especially if you're a business owner, a lot of money. Like, at the end of the
Mhm,
day, it's like, okay, look, I'm not going to be paying that much money to the government. It's like,
mhm.
but I'm going to spend this, the 7 million over and or 6 million over, whatever it may be, and at least the government's not getting the money. And then eventually, like, obviously after depreciation, I could sell it eventually and make money on it too. Or like you said, you could just buy them and then sell it, before you even take, before you even get the aircraft. So that way you're making money early without even worrying about anything.
Totally, totally.
Especially they do sell out for years because at that point everybody's gonna be paying at least a 10%, bonus on top just to get their airplane.
Yeah, like that the Cirrus Vision jet that I showed you, the Disney airplane, I call it.
Yeah, that's nice
That
though.
Yeah, that has a 3 to 4 year wait list right now. Like, it's
Jeez.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
like it is nice though. Like I said, like you said, it does look like something that we're gonna like. It would be drawn like a Disney movie,
yeah,
but overall, it looks good though. Like I don't know how long it was, but it looked like it was like nice and compact.
yeah.
So, and like you said though, you don't have to even worry about crashing the damn thing. I guess you do, like if you didn't, put out, if you're dumb and didn't put it out, but as long as you knew the parachute was there and you hit the parachute button, at least then you're gonna at least glide down and it's not gonna be like something crazy. So
Sure.
to me, it's like I'd rather buy one of those just because of the safety factor. And I
Yeah,
think everybody's looking for something that's better and it's for safety,
yeah,
especially with all the small aircraft crashes we've had in the past like year and a half or 2 years.
yeah.
Obviously, I'm sure that's getting just reported on more nowadays anyway than it was before.
No, no, they do crash. People do dumb things.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So it's like, at that point, it's like when I'm thinking, I'm looking for the aircraft that has the best safety record. And you would figure like something like that would have a way better safety record.
Actually, it doesn't. And so here's the funny
Oh, it
part.
doesn't? Oh,
It
no.
doesn't. So the fatality rate on the Cirrus is about the same as the
Oh, dang.
general, like, aviation fatality rate, like a Cessna, for example.
Oh, dang. Well,
Um,
hey.
but yeah, yeah, but they've deployed the parachute about 200 times now, and it has worked
Every
200
time.
times, right? Like,
Okay.
there hasn't been a single case where
So
it
it's just
hasn't
somebody
worked.
being dumb.
So it saved hundreds of lives. And so
Yeah.
without that, it would have the rate would be much, much worse.
Worse. Yeah.
And so what they say is, it's usually like doctors, or uh, like people who really have no business flying in certain weather or certain conditions, because
Yep.
they have this plane that has a parachute, they feel like they can go, and they just take unnecessary risk because they feel safe. And that's what causes it. So that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah, I mean that makes sense, honestly, too, because like you said, some people are just reckless anyway. Like whether it's in a car or a boat or a plane, it doesn't matter. Like because I have a few friends that in the Nashville area that that are in aviation, they fly and things like that as well. And I've been in some with like a couple of their planes, and like I'm like, yeah, I'm not going in the air with you. Like I'm talking about like just being stupid in terms of like especially when it comes to like foggy weather and
oh yeah.
being like over the Appalachian like mountain areas, like and being way too close to certain things. Like, yeah, like people are crazy. Even some people, you're like, yeah, we probably should not be doing that.
I mean, they're not allowed to do that. Like, if there's fog or clouds, you,
Yeah,
as
I
a
mean,
private pilot, you can't.
they're not allowed to do it, but people do that though, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Because I've been in one of those planes before, and I was like, yeah, never again will I do that. Like,
Yeah, I was flying back from Phoenix on Saturday, and there were these thunderstorms right in my path, and
yeah,
I had to follow the Mexican border all the way.
yeah,
And it was just like so surreal flying like 2 miles, close to the border, like right above it. I could see the fence and like
Yeah.
the wall and like the rivers and like yeah.
Yeah, and the cities are on the other side of the wall, some of them
Yeah.
obviously too. So
Yeah.
it is kind of surreal though, obviously. Did you go over the Grand Canyon Light area too, or?
No, I want to.
Yeah, I want to too. I've never been over the Grand Canyon before in a plane, but it sounds fun.
I have like run across it. That was Ali
Oh,
and I
okay.
did this thing called rim to rim, where you like basically
Yeah.
started one end of the rim and you like it's a race. You run
Yeah.
down, go up the
Okay.
other end.
That sounds so
Brutal.
fun.
It was like 11 hours.
Oh no. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Long
And what's
flights,
funny
never
is like
flights
I had trained for it, but I had trained like going up rather than going down.
down.
And
Got
you
it.
start with going down, and by the time we got down there, my legs were short because I had no like
Yeah.
ability to yeah, my quads were short. And so we
Oh, I'm
get down
sure.
there and we're like, fuck. We got
Yeah, just sitting on a plane for 11 hours is enough, but having to do everything else too, like, nah, I don't know about
yeah.
that. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Hmm.
Give me some
All right.
short-term flights.
Do we have
But
a winner?
we're here.
Do we have a winner?
We're at the end. Let's see who has a one.
All right, Stone's
Usually takes
team,
like
do
a
your
minute or
magic.
two.
I
Yeah,
think they have
usually
to
it's like
input. They have
2
to input
minutes
the
after.
price. All right. Oliver doesn't want to do it again. He has PTSD from.
Oh, from last time, yeah. Friday, he was like, yeah, that was funny though. Like NVIDIA $200. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
All right, here we go. I see the confetti.
I see it too. Confetti. 21
Nobody?
predictions.
It looks empty.
It's empty.
It's empty, guys.
Oh no. Oliver, what did you do? He's like, not 2 days in a row. Or two streams in a row. I shouldn't say 2 days, but
yeah.
So we fixed the issue, but we rolled back the video player. Got it.
So the new changes are gone.
Nice.
Okay. So what do we do about today, guys? All right, our devs are working on it. We will figure it out.
At any point, obviously, anybody can come back and see winners for the day. So I guess it eventually gets worked out. We'll have it fixed today, though.
Sorry.
So we can have it fixed today, though. I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll get fixed in the next soon. They'll figure it out.
Eddie.
Yep. Anything while they figure it out? Yeah. Any other interesting things you're keeping an eye on this week?
I don't know if there's like anything like super interesting. Obviously, like I was thinking this morning that whoever talked me into buying like AT&T as a dividend stock way back when and didn't let me buy McDonald's as a dividend stock. I just wanted to like go back in time and be like, why you do this to me? And yeah, I mean that's honestly I was thinking that this morning too. Seriously, it's so surreal. Like, and I was looking at it because I bought I do have McDonald's stock. But I bought it like years after I bought AT&T because AT&T was honestly like one of the very first stocks. I got into dividend stocks before I got into anything.
Mm-hmm.
And like, at the time, like I wanted to buy, McDonald's, but then I had this guy that I knew that was, he did financial, I wouldn't really call he wasn't like a financial advisor, but he did like money coaching, those kind of things. And he was like, no, you want to buy AT&T. It's like best. It's going to go up so much. And then, like if I could go back to then, and that was like I guess it was like mid 2016. Like I would just, I could do a lot of things. I'm like, man, I missed out on McDonald's in the run up in that area. And like I said, like obviously I probably should have knew like McDonald's is like the thing is gonna be around forever, and like especially during like certain areas, it's gonna have like lots of run ups anyway. And I should have bought it when I wanted to, because it is a really good dividend play. outside of like, it does, it's done decent since I guess since the downfall in 2020, going in 2020, it was like $1.40. Now it's up to like 251. Like obviously the last like few years since 2022, it's kind of like set steady, like ups and downs, up and downs. But then a day I would have did a lot better with that, and I would have done with AT&T. So that's my story of today. Because like back then, like McDonald's, like when I was looking, I was like $1.20 a share, and I should have just never bought AT&T and just put all the money I had. And it wasn't like a ton of money at the time. I think it was like 15 grand or something like that. That I put into that play, and was like AT&T, but I wish I would went back and put it into McDonald's and just kept buying McDonald's earlier. Is there a stock out there you wish you would have bought instead of another stock?
I think in hindsight, like what tends to be true is if a company is innovating like really hard, that's a really good leading indicator that good things will happen in the future. And if a company is just sitting and collecting cash, whether it's a great dividend stock or not, generally tends to go to zero over time, long enough time. So, that's why I think people like flock to Elon so much, is like he really pushes hard. And when you're that rich and that successful, it's very hard to push that hard.
No, 100%. I agree with that.
So, I mean, Tesla, like I was part of Tesla early days. Bitcoin is another one. I mean, I remember buying Bitcoin when it was $4 a coin. And then I used it to buy things that shall not be named. And then, I just didn't really want to hold on to it. Because it wasn't even that I wanted the money or whatever. It was just like I didn't like in my mind want to manage another account somewhere. And these are the days where like you held your own keys and like and it was just like so I had a bunch of Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. And one day I just sold everything because I just mentally didn't want to track it.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of like I have a lot of good stories like that too. Especially, I bought Bitcoin some like early days, but again, like you, I used it and was stupid about it. I did like buy Litecoin and held on to it, and I still have my Litecoin. In terms of, like, I still have Bitcoin too. I just don't have it from the early days. I do have some of my Litecoin from more early days, but I didn't get in Litecoin until after I got into Bitcoin. So I did miss some of the run ups on there as well. But I do have, currently I have more Litecoin than I do Bitcoin. But it was one of those coins like I don't know why I kept the Litecoin and then sold the Bitcoin. It's dumb, I guess, but Litecoin isn't terrible in its own right. But again, I wish I would have kept my my Bitcoin early days instead of spending it. Those are definitely some of the ones that I wish I could have like looked out on and been like, okay, like you could just hold this at least for a few more years and like see what happens, not just spend it right away within like a few months of buying it each time.
I had bought 250 Bitcoins for $1,000.
Oh man, that's all you can do is laugh about that though, right? There's nothing you can do. It's like, hey.
And then this good friend of mine, I got him into Bitcoin, and I remember he bought 20 grand worth of Bitcoin when Bitcoin was like $40, and like we met this random sketchy guy on the road, came with his like skateboard, and like did the transfer, and then we hung out there for 2 hours waiting for the confirmation to clear, because that's how you bought Bitcoin back then. There was no Coinbase, and that was we thought like there was a chance we were gonna get short, and the guy would just take our money and run. And
man, that is so bad though. Like, but at the end of the day, it's like, man, like just thinking about some of the stupid stuff. Like, obviously, I know you've done like stuff like that. Like, I've done stuff like that. Just like how much more money everybody would have if they wouldn't have done, or at least maybe even took advice, or maybe even like would have stuck to their guns a little longer on certain stuff instead of selling it. Whether it's a year early or 2 years early, it does kind of sting. But every time I feel like I buy and hold something, which again, it does go up in price, but so far everything I bought and hold hasn't went up like a Bitcoin has. So And I don't think I'll probably ever see anything like that, obviously, but still,
You know,
like,
we didn't mention this, but for our election stock, honestly, buying Bitcoin
oh
is,
yeah,
is a phenomenal
especially
like
the
play
Bitcoin
right now.
ETFs too. I'm sure those will see some bumps if you're only into like you don't want to buy Bitcoin in general. There's some stuff out there you could buy in the market that coincides with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think cryptocurrencies in general. I still think cryptocurrencies on either side of the aisle eventually is going to get eventually gain freehold, I guess, and like people will start using it more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like there's all, no matter what it is, like either side, Republicans or Democrats, one side always has to like slow the roll on this other thing. It's like, okay, you like that, but I'm not doing this. Okay, it's like you like that, and like both of them are great things, but it doesn't matter just because like we see for different political aisles, we have to like pick one side or the other. It's
Sure.
like, come on. I think eventually though we will see like cryptocurrencies be a mainstream, obviously,
Yeah.
as hopefully some of the older people drop off and we
Mm-hmm.
see the newer, younger age people on both sides take over.
Yeah.
I do think at that point is when we'll start seeing, acceptance from a lot of these type of things like Bitcoin and others from both
Mm-hmm.
aisles. And I think at that point, like you having Bitcoin now or whenever it may be is going to
Mm-hmm.
be good anyway. So might as well, get some and hold on to it either way it goes. But 100%, if like, let's just say, especially like on our side, if they win right now, like, yeah, those things are definitely going to see a pump. Like no
Hey,
doubt about
Jason,
it.
I gotta
Yeah.
run. I gotta
Okay.
jump on a call here.
Yeah.
But for everyone watching, just hang on. We're
Yeah. Just
gonna
come
we're
back.
gonna
You'll
get
see
this
winners.
fixed and you're gonna get paid. So just give it 5-10 minutes. Our devs are on it.
Yep. Appreciate everybody coming today. We'll see you tomorrow, same time,
See you
3:30
tomorrow, same
p.m.
time.
ET, 1:30 PT.
Sounds good. Bye bye.
Bye.